when we did it earlier.
I think that was so fun.
That was really good. We're going to do it again later, and it's like you never ever saw it.
That was great. That was really fast. We were having a personal conversation.
It was very
And
intimate.
then the curtain just went up. Can I tell them?
Yeah, you can tell them.
She's moving to be with her boyfriend to a town like right next to West Covina.
And he's Filipino. And he's watching right now, so hi.
Wait, you're actually moving to Duarte?
No. He actually lives there now, and then we're gonna move in together more west.
Yeah.
Sorry, West Covina.
It's okay.
It's not as pretty as it is on TV, unfortunately.
Yeah, we make it look amazing.
You guys do a really great job.
Yeah.
So, hi, by the way, I'm Ashley Lee. I'm an editor at The Hollywood Reporter, and we are here with the great and wonderful creator and star of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Rachel Bloom. So, in case they have no idea who's up here.
Wait, okay, how many Jews are in this audience? This is great. I love an audience of Jews because every other person looks like someone I know. Like, I thought you were my friend Alina. You're not related to a girl named Alina?
No, but I've actually been told that before.
That you look like Alina Geffner-Milston? If you ever go to LA, look up Alina Geffner-Milston. You're probably, just go on 23andMe, you'll find her. I love it. It's great. It's so fun.
Amazing. So you guys all just watched episode 4,
Yeah.
which is your favorite episode, you were saying.
Yeah, and that's why I picked it for tonight, because in doing a talk back about an episode, it's my favorite episode we've ever done. I co-wrote it with my co-creator and our showrunner, Aline Brosh McKenna, who I guess couldn't be here. I mean, she wasn't, they just asked me to be here, even though she's the showrunner, but she really is like she's the boss of our show. She runs the writer's room, and she really has final say on all of our casting decisions. I mean, she basically rewrites every script. So anyway, but in a good way. And so it was, this is everything that Aline and I always wanted to do with the show. I mean, when we pitched the show 4 years ago, this episode is kind of what we were thinking.
Amazing. And it also is such a turn for the character of Rebecca. Did you warn CW that you're like, hey, this is the time we go dark? This is what we were talking about.
Yeah, we did. I mean, they kind of knew it, and the great thing is they so trust us at this point. I mean, they're very non-invasive. Their notes are actually very good.
Oh.
You know, you hear a lot of people bitch about like getting network notes and stuff. I can curse, right?
Yes.
Not that bitch is like cursing, but it's basically, it's like, I don't know, the applesauce of curses.
Curse freely.
Yeah.
Curse freely.
It's the thing you feed a baby to get them ready for the other curses.
Gateway curse, yeah? Yeah.
I just made that up.
I like it.
Okay. Fuck, what was I saying?
Notes from CW are great.
You know, people bitch about network notes all the time, but like, our network notes are actually really good. We have a great relationship with them, and they just kind of creatively trust us. And so they knew we were going dark, and they just wanted to support us and make sure that they wanted to make sure that when we were going dark, we did it in an informed way. And so we started the season, I mean, before we even wrote the season, we talked to different psychologists, and we did a ton of research on all this stuff. And so they've been very supportive.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I've been noticing you've been tweeting a lot after these episodes, especially the much heavier ones. What's been your favorite part about hearing the reactions to these darker, deeper storylines?
I mean, people are coming forward with such personal stuff. My favorite thing is in the like Twitter threads, seeing fans help each other. It's been amazing. Like, it's been unbelievable to see people being like, oh, well, where can I find, you know, care in this area? And someone being like, oh, I live in that area and I found a good doctor here, you know, or like, oh, my meds are weird on this thing. And people are really helping each other. I mean, that's been truly amazing. I mean, I think the worst thing about, and mental illness is such a kind of broad term, but the worst thing when you have, bless you, the worst thing when you have anxiety or depression or anything, I mean, I don't have borderline. I know people, bless you again, I know people who have had borderline, but I myself have struggled with anxiety and depression and some obsessive, intrusive OCD thoughts. And the worst thing about it, I know for me, and I think for a lot of other people, is that you feel like you're the only one. It's so intangible, like when it's actually happening to you, like words like depression, it's just a word. It doesn't mean the way you're feeling. And so to see that, no, other people have felt this exact same thing. Like, I'm not the weird one. This is a thing that happens to people, and it's chemicals, or it's from our past, or it's, I was talking to my psychiatrist just the other day, and we were talking about intrusive thoughts, and he described it as a lightning storm in your brain, that it's a collection of electrical impulses, and that just made me feel so much more normal. And normal's a very, I mean, I hate the word normal as much as I kind of hate the word crazy. But I think that's been really, really wonderful. And I guess I'm just trying to now navigate of, I don't want to react and respond to one person and not another, because especially people with BPD. And so I'm actually like navigating how to respond to people and reach out to people in a way that doesn't hurt them or press the boundaries with them.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, we're talking about episodes 5 and 6, which I'm assuming all of you have already caught up on.
If not,
spoiler.
sorry.
Massive.
Oops.
But that topic is really discussed in that song, My Diagnosis,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Thank you.
But so how do you go about touching on a subject that is difficult, but still making it humorous?
I don't know, just writing what feels true and writing what feels, I think that a lot of comedy, especially in that Diagnosis song, comes from the specifics. And the idea of taking a kind of The Wizard and I like want song, but it's a person who desperately wants a label for a mental illness. Like, that's the kind of comedic pattern of that song. And the hope is real. The emotion of the song is very genuine, but the specifics come in the kind of hope juxtaposed with like the kind of, oh, I hope I'm bipolar, maybe I'm schizophrenic, you know? And I think that as what I have learned is that the more specific you are, the weirdly more relatable it is. Like, before I did the show, this is gonna sound bad, but I thought I was unique, right? A Jewish girl who likes musical theater and Harry Potter, and has issues with anxiety and fights with her parents. And then, like, I do live shows and I meet 30 me's. And I'm like, oh, I'm not unique at all in a way that's wonderful. Like,
Right.
we're all just like, we're actually very, very similar on this planet.
Perfect. I want to go back to this episode for a second. So with the darker turn, there were so many opportunities, and you're exploring different genres, not only in music, but also in like cinematography. Like, so many of the laughs were from the horror type thing. Like, how fun was that to go into that space?
It was so fun. I mean, Aline and I had, I want to say Aline and I wrote the first draft, the bulk of this episode, first draft, in about a day and a half at her house. When Aline and I are just together alone in a room writing an episode, the two of us, we go lightning fast, because we write it line by line. Usually Aline's the computer. I'm like bopping around the room. And we just kind of improvise together line by line. And then Aline writes it down. And so it just, and we had so, I mean, this is the episode that's kind of, we've been bursting to do for so many years. And so it flowed out of us like really easily. And there's this term in comedy, like mapping, where it's like, well, you're mapping the horror genre, so what's the funny version of the horror genre? So the idea of, you know, the serious horror thing would be a person, you know, seeing a swing outside. The comedic version of that is, well, how did the swing get that way? Well, someone has to push the swing. Well, when I was watching this episode originally, the night it aired with a group of people, David Hull, who plays White Josh, was watching it with me. Yeah, give it up for David Hull. I'm gonna tell him you guys applauded. He's gonna be really happy. David Hull looked at the scene where Josh's boss opens the locker with electronics, and he turns to me and he goes, wait, he knew those were in there, so that means he opened the locker once. Everything fell out, and he went, oh, I'm gonna surprise him, and put everything back. And I was like, that's such a good point that I wish we could have called out in the episode. But it's finding things like that. And then our director of this episode, Joseph Kahn, who is a very famous director. He directs most of Taylor Swift's videos, among other things. He directed this as well as our new opening, what we call a saga cell, but our new opening theme. And he just shot the shit out of this episode. I mean, this episode is shot unlike any other episode we've ever done. It's very true to the genre. And Aline was telling me at one point they were in this thing called a tone meeting, which is where Aline sits down with the directors and goes through the script for a couple hours and says, like, this is what the intention of this beat is. And Joseph was talking about the moment where Josh reaches under the bed and he's like, okay, so the camera's gonna be here, and then Josh's gonna go like that, and the camera's gonna flip, and then we're gonna flip with him. And Aline was like, cool, whatever, awesome, yeah, do that, But it was really, I mean, it's just so well shot, and Joseph and our cinematographer, Todd Dos Reis, just did an amazing job. I mean, everyone on this show works so hard. I mean, I get a lot of the credit because I'm the face of it, but like, I am surrounded with some of the most like brilliant, hardworking people I've ever met. Like, you can't work on this show and be giving it like 80%. It's a really, really hard show to do.
And you roped Josh Groban into that.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
It happened very easily, weirdly. He and I had like tweeted each other before. We were mutual fans. I did a backstage bit at the Tony Awards, met him at the Tony Awards. He's awesome. And we knew, so in this episode we were like, okay, so it's a mini movie, and so what we want is we want a song at the end of the movie that if this were a movie, this would be the hit single. This would be the, right, this is
Josh Groban's really good at those.
Yeah, he's really good at those.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to crack my back.
That's fine.
I got a little one, okay. You know, it's my heart will go on. It's I Will Always Love You. Like, this is the big final song. And so we needed like a famous singer to really make the joke pop. And I was like, I know Josh Groban, guys. And he was just so down from second one. And actually, we ran out of room this year to do tags, if you guys remember in seasons past, and it's just because this season is so plot propulsive and in many ways a little more serious. We just didn't have room, but there's a tag that we just didn't have time for in this episode that also didn't fit, that we'll probably put on the DVD. That's the tag is the camera starts pushing in on Marco asleep, and the Josh Groban song comes back on, and he goes, "You're almost in your 70s, Marco, and you just had sex with a woman less than half your age." That's really badass, but also messed up that you banged your son's ex-girlfriend. Whoa, never. And then Marco goes, suck it, Groban.
It's great. DVDs sold.
Yeah,
That's great.
it was such a good tag. We have a lot of great tags this season that we literally had to cut for time. There's oh God, there's another tag. Oh, that's just so good. I'm just gonna give away what's on the DVD, I guess.
It will sell. This is great.
It'll sell. There's a tag from the second episode. So if you recall, there was this thing where Rebecca asked Nathaniel, get revenge on Josh, and Nathaniel was like, we're gonna kill Josh's grandpa. And she was like, do not do that. So there is a tag that was left on the cutting room floor that we did not have time for, of, you see a nursing home, and George, the character George walks in, and he's like, and Lolo is like hooked up to a machine, and George is like, Lolo, I'm so sorry to do this. But I need to keep my job. I hope you forgive me. And he's like about to pull the plug, and he gets a phone call. He's like, call it off? Oh, thank God. And then Lolo, who's in a vegetative state, hops up, grabs George's arm and goes, I once killed a man in Taipei, and then dies.
And more DVDs just sold.
And it's so good, and we didn't have room for it. Oh.
That's great. Thank you for keeping the tags alive. Wonderful. With this season being very strict on the plot, like you were saying, is that something you prefer more, to be a bit more on the dramatic side-ish in comparison?
I mean, this is my favorite season just because I like the plot propulsion mixed with the comedy. I think the more heightened the plot gets, the funnier shit gets. And I have a very dark sense of humor, so we get a lot of questions that are like, how do you mix the comedy with the drama? But I mean, writers and comedians are really dark, fucked up people. The darkness is pretty synonymous with the comedy, and so that never feels like a struggle for us, really. And so it's been very gratifying to do this. I don't know, I like both.
Good at both. So that's great.
Yeah, but I think this show lends that. There's a reason we've always said this show's just 4 seasons. It's because it's a show with plot, and it doesn't sustain itself I say this now and watch me be like, 8 seasons, woo! No. They'll never, no. Because we are telling a finite story about a time in a person's life. It's not, it's not Cheers. It's not a show that keeps spitting out copies of itself. It's not a sitcom in that way. There's an arc to it.
And so the next episode is going to be the winter finale, which airs December 8th.
Yeah.
And it is the first episode that does not have Josh's name in the title.
Yeah.
So
Should I tell you why it doesn't have Josh's name in the title?
Oh yeah, that is my next question. So yeah,
Okay.
you have to.
I don't care. I'll spoil it. I don't care. The episode is called Getting Over Jeff. Who's Jeff? Jeff is Paula's long-lost love, and we go home to Buffalo, and there's this line. We've been wanting to do this episode actually for quite some time, because in the pilot, there's this line where Paula goes, I wish I'd been as brave as you were when I was your age. And so we always knew that Paula felt like there was something that got away from her. And so this is an episode where we meet that guy.
Amazing. Is Jeff in more than one episode?
No.
Okay.
He dies. No, I'm kidding.
Either way, we will not get too attached to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So the rest of the season is in January. So you just wrapped production on season 3 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And
I'm so tired. Thank you. And actually, we were supposed to wrap a little earlier. Scott Michael Foster, who plays Nathaniel, who has a number. Oh yeah, let's clap for Scott. Give him a clap. He got a little sick, and so we had to postpone. We had to film. Bless his heart, he got very, very sick, and so we had to film after
It's all
Thanksgiving.
Nathaniel's
Fun
fault.
story, amazing story. But yeah, we just wrapped, and so it's fun to, literally last night I was watching the music videos because I supervise the edit of all the music videos. I'm kind of like the song showrunner. I script all the music videos. I sit in the editing room after the first cut of the videos are done. And so I was watching the cut of the music videos from episode 10. And so my mind is on episode 10, but it's really
what's
cool
happening there?
10 is particularly like, if I told you one thing, it would just spoil a lot.
Okay. Maybe later.
You don't want to know.
Circle back.
No. I'm trying to think of anything. There's a very, very, very hard dance number. Very hard.
Okay.
It's really, really hard.
Okay.
That's it.
I will take that for now.
Because this is what we've done to ourselves. Not only are we doing an hour-long network show where one of the co-creators has to act in it, so that means I'm not in the writer's room for the bulk of the time we're filming the show, whereas cable, you write, and then you film, and then you edit. But also, we made it a fucking musical. And it's just like every time we come across an episode, we're like, oh, right, we need to write some songs. No, and it's like a joy, but it's insane. The 9th episode of this season, we will have passed 100 songs. Yeah.
Wow.
And every time we think about that, Adam, Jack, and I, my song co-writers, Adam Schlesinger, who writes a lot of the songs and produces a lot of the songs. Yes, give it up. And Jack Dolgen, who is a producer on the show and writes the songs. Yes. Both Jews. Yeah. I have a great video of them. There's this just complete. Anyway. What I was going to say is we all turn to each other and we go, we can't do it. We can't write another song. There's always a point in the season where we're out of songs. There are no more songs to write left in the world, and then somehow we crank them out. But I have a great video of, there's this song in episode 3 called I Go to the Zoo. Yeah. And I have, while we were writing that song, I just took a video of, because Adam and Jack are way more versed in hip hop than I am. And I just took a video, both of these Jewish guys just being like, yo, hop, yeah, I got this, and I got this bitch up in my Rari. I just seeing them do that, and it's hilarious to me. The first cut of the first draft I wrote of Sexy Getting Ready song was, So I wrote up Sexy Getting Ready song, and then I came to Jack to produce the song, and then also as I was also if you have any writing edits, and the original rap break This is my attempt to write hip hop. It was like, girl, you know I like it when you wear that dress. And Jack was like, yeah, so I just think you could be like, hop on my dick with that tight little dress. And I was like, you take the rap break. Because I think this is what, me writing hip hop's not great. It's not good.
What is your favorite genre or, musician tribute to write for? Or has been?
I mean, anything musical theater is just so my jam. Like, yeah. I mean, like Diagnosis was fun to write because that's the kind of twin to West Covina, right? And that's my wheelhouse, the idea of the fucked up starry-eyed ingenue song. I mean, I could write those forever. If I could only write fucked up want songs forever, I'd be good. But I also loved writing Strip Away My Conscience. I took the lead on that one. Yeah, it's a sexy Fosse, But I also love pop because I love pop, but I also have quite a disdain for pop. And so
I think that's how pop lovers are.
Exactly.
In general.
And so I think there is something to coming at the genre you're parodying from a slight place of hatred. Just like a little bit of hatred. And by the way, like that's also sometimes how I feel about musical theater. I mean, that's when we wrote The Moment Is Me, which is the song Heather sings. That was very much like me, Adam, and Jack, like us taking everything we fucking hate about the worst parts of musical theater and making Heather like have to sing it. But it's a beautiful song, and Adam wrote the music of that song. And when we heard it, we were like, this is actually a really beautiful and trite song. And so much so our writer's assistant, Alana, who is basically like if me and Aline had a daughter, like she's a stickler for grammar but loves musical theater. Anyway, she's Rebecca Bunch. But saying Rebecca Bunch, Alana, we got her singing a legitimately earnest version of that song that we want to put on the end of the album, where she's just like, the moment is me. Like she just really wanted to sing it for real.
And I love it when they always have like a second version of the song, so it's just like perfect.
Yeah, this is like in the Disney movies where they'd have the awkward pop version.
Right, yeah.
Or it'd be like, where it's always like,
actually, Josh Groban did that for Beauty and the Beast. So he sang Evermore for.
Wait, really?
Yeah. We can make fun of him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
No, I saw the animated, obviously.
Oh yeah. He does a pop version of it.
Oh my God, that makes us look so smart.
That's why that's what I was saying. I was like, it was all part of the plan. Yeah, definitely.
Wait, wasn't there another person who sang like a pop version of the thing? I don't know.
Of the main Beauty and the Beast? Yeah, that was John Legend and Ariana Grande.
There we go,
Yeah.
Ariana Grande. That's who it was.
They had two.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this show.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
It's like when you walk into like, sorry, just like quick deviation now that I have you guys. I like can't stand like sexy jazz or sexy pop like remixes of classic Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And it's like, can't we just sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? I love them. It's like, had a very shiny nose. I had to get that out.
It's true. It's very cathartic for all of us as we go into the holidays.
That was like a half stand-up bit. I didn't have a point. I just wanted to talk about it.
I want to know what genres or tributes or spoofs or whatever you want to call them are coming up in the winter finale or the rest of season 3 that you can talk about.
Okay. Well, the next episode, Donna Lynn Champlin sings a fabulous ABBA song.
Oh my God.
It's ABBA, right? Not ABBA. It's ABBA. Yeah, okay. I sometimes have that nightmare that I've been saying something wrong my whole life.
Yeah.
That happened to my first writing staff, and I never forgot it. It scarred me. I was pronouncing the word click, cleek, and it just was. Word to the wise, don't do that. If you're the youngest person and the only girl in your first TV writing oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm more successful than
I was gonna say, clearly you're doing very well. It's objective. No need to
Some of them were lovely, but some of them were so mean. Who's laughing now?
Perfect. Okay, so ABBA. Any upcoming cool like dance styles?
Yeah, you asked about the show. I'm trying to. What would Aline be cool with me giving away? Daryl has a Meghan Trainor song coming up. And there is a clean version and a dirty version. So Pete was really excited to go blue. There is, for lack of a better word, a very sexy Nathaniel White Josh duet coming up. Yeah, get ready. Yeah, it's good. There's, I'm trying to think what won't give anything away. Amy Hill, who plays Lourdes, has a song coming up.
Perfect.
Yeah, and she's fantastic. There's some, let's see, really hard dance numbers, and then oh no, that'll give away a plot point. No, that's it. That's all I'm giving
Okay,
you.
sounds good. That
I
was
just
a
don't
lot.
want to spoil things.
That's
for you.
true. I mean, we'll still enjoy them, but yeah, sounds good.
There's a, in case you were like, hey, I want another graphic song about the female anatomy.
Always.
That's coming up as well.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yet another one.
Thank you for the clitoris exploration
Oh my
on
God.
television.
It was very, very, very important to us, and
Thank you for that public service.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
I mean, God, Aline and I could go on and on about the clitoris. But really, like,
Yeah.
it's not, they don't, you as a little girl, you learn about your period, you learn about, don't get pregnant, you learn about condoms. I mean, at least I did because I grew up in California, where we were taught in public schools about sex, which I think doesn't happen in places. But no one says, oh, and by the way, the source of all your sexual pleasure is actually from your clitoris. And so, hey, if you don't come, like, unless you're clit stimulated, you're not crazy. And all they tell you is like, this is how sex works. The penis goes in the vagina. And so then you're like, but that's not how I get to the place where I go, oh my God, like the ladies in the movies. And really, like, no one fucking talks about it. And I just feel like but this is cliche, but like, if men's penises were somehow like more hidden, like I don't know, it's all they talk about.
Yeah.
Like no one ever told me that. And I mean, and that's a fun fact. We wanted to put so many fun facts about the clitoris in the episode. But there's a lot of scientific evidence to suggest that even, and this, I'm just gonna get really graphic here, but honestly, it's not graphic, it's science. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that even vaginal orgasms come from nerves that extend from the clitoris into the vagina and around the rim of the anus.
The more you know. This has been a very educational conversation so far.
And it is an important issue because sexual pleasure is one of the things that makes life great.
Yeah.
And women need to fight for their own pleasure.
So talking about women's...
By the way, my in-laws are in the audience, so hi. Hey. They're used to it. And now they know too. Just saying, everyone should know.
Amazing. So you are very bravely talking about women's sexual pleasure, also talking about mental health, also talking about suicide attempts, and just so many other things. What's coming up in the rest of season 3, like not taboo topics, but just things that are discussed that maybe aren't usually?
Well, the thing that we continued to do with the show that I hadn't seen before, that I'm really, really proud of, and that was inherent in the show from day one, when Aline and I first had our general meeting and she busted out, I had an idea for a movie called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, let's do it as a TV show. And that day changed my life. It is the idea of love, romantic love is put on this pedestal, that it's like, whatever's bad about life, you can't touch romantic love. Romantic love is this pure thing, and to die for love, to obsess over love, you could be the worst person, but love somehow redeems you. And that's like kinda not true. I mean, you know, it's when we're in love and we're obsessed, it's the same with any other feeling. It's these chemicals coursing through our bodies. You know, it's rooted in our, I mean, sex has a lot of, obviously, like, purposes, and it's not just for reproduction, but it's rooted right in the deep lizard brain of reproduction. And so the chemicals that course through us when we are in romantic love, in the area it is at in our brain, it's not where want is located, it's need. Yeah. And they've done brain scans on people who are in obsessive love. And the things that happen to you in love are similar to when you're on cocaine and when you have OCD. And so the idea of putting it on this pedestal and being like, well, I can't help it. I love this person. You know, I can't, you know, and not examining, okay, well, why do you love this person? Because clearly, you know, what does this person bring out in you? Why do you love this person? Does this person remind you of one of your parents? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Because the people we love, and we say it in the Heinous Bitch song, and this was a very important bridge for us to put in, you know, it sounds like I'm falling in love, but when we're finding a mate, it's our parents we're thinking of. My relationship with her was my first failed romance. And our parents are the first people who love us and who we love. And so if they love us in a healthy way, if it's unconditional, then we go for people who love us in that way. But if they love us in very conditional ways, or they love us in abusive ways, then we go for people who do that to us. So when you involuntarily then fall in love with someone who treats you badly, is that pure? Is that fate? So anyway, so the purpose is like we are going to throughout the season be, you know, we've been exploring mental health. The root of the show is this idea of love, and we're going to now be slowly bringing them back together.
Okay, perfect. So do you discuss these things with your own parents or your in-laws afterward?
Yeah. Like which things? Oh, all this?
No,
Yeah,
no,
totally.
like the realization of the failed marriage or failed relationship is the parent thing. Like just basically that your impression of love is so dictated by your parents. Have you gone back to like chat with your parents?
You know,
Your relationship is also great. So, but just the realization.
No. I tread lightly because I'm open about myself, but I also need to preserve, you know, relationship with my parents. Yeah. And so there are certain things we talk about. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the character of my mother in this show is kind of not based on anyone. It's not based on my mother really or Aline's mother. It's a kind of amalgamation of mothers. But when my father saw, he went, "You wrote my mother."
Oh, wow.
And so that's been really interesting to watch my father especially watch the show and be like, literally his mother walked into his first apartment and called it a hovel, which I inadvertently wrote in that song. And my dad's also said to me things like, "Oh, I dated girls like Rebecca." And this is really clarifying for me why they were crazy. And I'm like, okay, Dad. So the answer is yes, my parents and I do talk about it, but I think that what the cool thing about creating art does, it allows you to explore certain issues in artistic, indirect ways that allow me to face my issues without antagonizing people.
Right. The show's definitely about love, and it started out being about a romantic relationship, but this season has been so much more about there's parents, you finally see Paula's kids. Mm-hmm. What has that been like to explore other areas of these characters?
It's so cool. I mean, I love the other characters on the show. I love writing for them. I burped. I love writing songs for the other characters as much as I love writing for my own character. I mean, the other great thing is we have such a talented cast and such a warm cast and a wonderful cast, and their talents are so specific. And so as the seasons have gone on, their characters have qualities that are also based on the people. And I mean, the perfect example of that being, well, this was season 1, but like the song "Angry Mad," where Josh is doing karate, like that's something we wrote for Vinny, where it's like, okay, this guy has 3 black belts. He's an acrobat, he's a dancer. We have to use all of these things at once. And so I think that's been really, really fun. And ultimately, the show is about pursuit of happiness. And everybody in Rebecca's life in West Covina had some sort of happiness gap. Rene Goubet, who plays Father Bra, but also writes for the show. Yes, clap for Rene. In his interview to write for this show before he was even cast as Father Bra, he was like, he's from San Diego, and he talked about how everyone, especially in Southern California, has like a happiness gap. If they're unhappy, there's something like unspoken, like what's preventing you from being like the truest version of yourself. And everyone in the show has something like that, whether it's Nathaniel and a lot. I mean, he's quite broken, or Heather and her inability to pick a thing. Valencia learning more about female friendships and relationships. Everyone is going through a thing, and everyone's a little bit crazy in this show in many ways.
I want to talk about the latest edition, so Nathaniel, as far as the group, but are we supposed to like him now?
Yeah.
We are, okay.
I
Like,
mean, you can
empathize,
take whatever you, so the idea of liking is interesting. I don't,
Rooting for?
I don't necessarily really care
Yeah.
if you like someone. And this is me personally, I only care, I want you to understand where they're coming from. That's really all I care about, because no one, to quote our own show, no one wants to be the villain in the story, right? No one goes throughout life saying like, ha ha ha, I'm a villain. Even our president does not do that. I mean, maybe he does, but I think but I don't think he does. I think that a lot of his stuff comes from a place of deep pain and an undiagnosed personality disorder potentially, right?
Yeah.
But that's pain.
Yeah.
But that's pain. Personality disorders, a lot of doctors think, come from trauma in the childhood. And so any sort of, whenever someone's mean, it comes from trauma in their own lives. And I think that that's what's important for us to show on this show is that no one is ever like all bad or all good. We're all just doing our best. And so the same goes for Nathaniel. I mean, yeah, you watch these episodes. I mean, him holding onto that alligator in the end, when I saw that in the cut, I was like, oh, fucking kill me. That's so good. It's so sweet and so good. And he's so, I mean, the scenes with him and his parents in the sixth episode were also just so wonderful. And so, yeah, I mean, you can like him, but he has flaws still.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
So you've said previously, finite story,
Yeah.
4 sections, and so far they've been 1 season per section.
Yeah.
And that you knew the last sentence of each one. You previously said that.
Oh, did I say that?
I don't know. I was going to ask if that's still true for season 3, which you just wrapped. More questions.
Oh, God, I was like, is there a puppy?
Oh, sorry.
I got so, I'm sorry, you gasped,
I'm
and we're
so
on a
sorry.
stage. I honestly thought it was going to be a puppy.
I'm so sorry.
That
No.
would have made me so happy. Anyway.
Next time.
It's fine. I mean, we knew basically every season is kind of a different angle exploring this central idea of a crazy ex-girlfriend, right? And we have basically stuck to those planned angles. And this was always the season where she spirals and where we really explore the flip side of that premise, the kind of fatal attraction of that premise, but then also her side of the story, which is, okay, well, what leads you to do these things? And so I think it's shaping up to be pretty, and not exactly like we planned. Like, we didn't plan out everything meticulously. Right. It's not like that, but we've always had a sense of the emotional arc and the emotional sweep of the show, and I think that we're on track.
In what's planned out, will we ever see Rebecca in a healthy romantic relationship?
I can't answer that. Okay. Yeah. I can't answer that.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, like, if you get rid of all conflict in a show called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, it's
But if it's a
not
finite show,
anymore.
like,
yeah, sure.
yeah.
Well, or do we?
That's my other question is, do you see it going beyond this 4 installment?
I just don't think it does. I mean, I really don't. I can't think of a TV show that got better beyond season 5. Really, I don't think of a show. I mean, like maybe Seinfeld, but like maybe in this audience, Seinfeld. Seinfeld definitely, and Curb. But Curb's a short-run show. There are very few shows that can pull it off, and I just think that, yeah, I'm really happy with what we're planning out. I mean, unless we found a way to kind of split the arc of season 4 into 2.
Pull a Breaking Bad, pull a Mad Men.
Pull a Breaking Bad or whatever,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think our plan is pretty good.
In the plan, do you know what the 4th opening theme will be?
Here's a funny story. I thought I did, because it was a theme that I had actually had in mind potentially for season 2, that I was like, oh, I feel like this will come back around for season 4, and I was on set with Aline. Aline directed the season finale, as she does every season, and I was on set with her, and I was like, Aline, do you want me to sing you next season's theme song that I think it's gonna be? I was like, I think this is it. And I was like, I'm putting my foot down. This is it. This is definitely it. And I sing it for her, and she's like, ah. And so it was such a like anticlimactic moment. So the short answer is no, but kind of.
Okay. We will stay tuned.
We actually know what aesthetic we want it to be. We know the genre.
Okay.
It's just what's the comedic focus.
Okay, and no outfits yet. No choreo yet.
No, there's no outfits or choreo.
Okay, just making sure. Some people know. Okay.
That's assuming that human beings are in it.
Oh.
I'm just leaving it open. Maybe it's a bunch of fucking puppies. Maybe.
Okay, so in general.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
That would be good. It started here. When you see it, it started here.
Wow.
From a gasp. It's great. So on the show,
you
you've
can't
had
beat that.
You've had Patti LuPone.
Yeah.
You've had Josh Groban. You've had Seth Green. You've had Brittany
Yeah.
Snow. Such fun people. Who's the dream get?
I mean, we have to write a part for Carol Burnett. She's a fan of the show. She's a fan of the show, and it's like absurd, and we keep trying to write parts of her, and then like it'll be like, oh, but that doesn't work with this plot line, like because the show is so plotty, especially this season. But we gotta get on that.
We'll take a standalone episode with just Carol. That's fine.
I mean, that is very true.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna make it. I mean, we'll see. She's busy. She's Carol Burnett, so we'll see.
Also, if you had an unlimited budget, what music video would you do?
Sorry. Sorry, sometimes I get yelled at by our line producer who's like, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. She's wonderful. Her name's Sarah Kaplan, and I love her. If I had an unlimited budget, what music video?
Yeah. Or like, what tribute? What spoof? What?
You know, there isn't really a way to do K-pop cheaply.
That's true.
And Vinny is desperate for a K-pop number,
Yeah.
and I want to give it. Aline and I desperately want to give it to him, but you have to have them blown out, and it's just. I mean, we don't have nothing to work with, but we start to get. I mean, if you look at the middle of every season, you'll start to see the numbers get a little simpler, and it's because we do fear that we are running out of money, and so it'll either have to be top of next season K-pop. Unless Josh dies. I'm not saying he doesn't. He doesn't. Josh doesn't die.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that. Josh doesn't die.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to know. What has...
Are these your questions or audience
Oh, no,
questions?
these are mine. These are still mine.
Right.
We'll get to yours. Sorry. Still have some more. What has been something you've learned about yourself as a performer through this show? Like, oh my God, my voice can do this weird thing I didn't know. Like that kind of thing.
I'm trying to think like this. I mean, God, there's been so much. I think that that the scenes that you think would be hard to do are not the hard ones. Like the scene in this episode where I was yelling at people, that was definitely hard, but I hold in a lot of anger. And so in many ways, that was like me being able to vent out my anger in a nice way. And my like contempt for other people that I've been holding in that aren't my castmates. So, you know, I think that like I always thought like, oh, those scenes would be very hard, but I actually really love those scenes. Whereas like the pills scene in the next episode was really, really hard because it was putting myself into a place that I've fortunately never really been, which is wanting to like, even just imagining an inkling of what it would feel like to want to end my own life, and I haven't luckily been in that place. And I used to, I mean, the thing that I've gotten better at is when we first started the show, I needed to like feel it. You know, it was like, I need to be off on my own and listen to some music, and I need to feel it. And now it's become such a muscle memory. I'm much better about going into a drama scene and then cut and just being like, you know, which is healthy and good, because I play her enough as is. I need to be able to snap into myself in between scenes. Otherwise, I would, you know, I'd go insane.
So since you've wrapped Monday, is there something you like to do to kind of get back into yourself for a long period of time?
There's this interesting thing called sleep. There's that. I love just like going to brunch and reading the paper and taking a bath. And I mean, watching TV, I'm so behind on television, on other people's shows. I mean, it's pretty funny whenever you're at an event with other people in television, you go, I'm such a fan. And you can just tell everyone's bullshitting. No one's seen each other's shows. Everyone's busy. And so I'm excited to legitimately watch those shows and say that I'm a fan and not lie.
Okay, good. Perfect. And what is something that is so much harder about running a show than you anticipated?
Knowing what things to give up control of.
Oh.
And I mean, I think it's easy because I'm acting in the show. Aline, you know, Aline's the showrunner. She runs the show. She is, in the beginning of the show, I wanted to watch every casting video. I wanted to help approve every wardrobe choice, and I just can't. And so you have to really trust other people. And that's been hard to compartmentalize. And for me, the thing that I've learned since the first season is the most important thing when I'm on set is the acting, and everything else has to be secondary. And I think the first season, actually a couple seasons, it's like I'd be on set writing the rough draft of a song, and they'd be like, we need you back, Rachel. And I'd be like, oh my God, just a second. I'm writing a song for your stupid show, you know? But it's like, oh, I know, but I gotta do my first job, which is that thing, and the song can wait. So that's been hard too. The multitasking in like thinking about a bunch of different things within the same span of 5 minutes is a very, very hard thing to force myself not to do. Because it's something I naturally want to do, but it makes me panicked. I mean, I had a mini, it wasn't a full-on, but like I had a mini panic attack on set for the first time a couple weeks ago, just because I'd had a lot of coffee, I was low on sleep, which happens later in the season. I was trying to listen to the demo of a new song on my phone while the script supervisor was giving me a note on a line, and the director wanted to talk to me about the shot he was setting up for the musical number, and I just like I literally just froze. And so that's something I have to be mindful of.
And then just started delegating from there, right?
Yeah, or just one thing at a time.
Yeah, that's true.
Just sit quietly.
Yeah. I do love that this show is created by 2 women, and thank you for doing that.
Oh.
And the cast is just so fun.
Lovely.
What is set like, especially because it's run by women, so it's just different?
Yeah, I mean, set in general is really like theater camp. I mean, we're a really, really close-knit cast. We have a lot of fun. I mean, Pete will bring his ukulele to set and just like play in between takes. I mean, the thing that I have learned, because the majority of women that I work with now are moms. Aline, my writing partner, our other executive producer, Aaron Ehrlich. I mean, the list goes on. And what I've seen moms do is they are very efficient because they have to be. And they're very good at multitasking, but taking one thing at a time, which is something I need to get better at because I'm good at multitasking. Mm-hmm. But it's going from second to one thing and second, kind of bopping around from one thing to another. And I see the way that moms handle stuff at work, and they'll do this, and then they move on to this, and then they move on to this, because Aline has 2 kids, and she said that when she had her kids, it actually made her better at her job because she wanted to get her work done so she could be with her kids. And you really feel that working with women. I mean, there's this, you hear about these, and again, not to generalize about men. That's right. But you hear sometimes showrunners who keep their writing staffs until 4 a.m. and they're just drinking and playing poker, and they don't actually start writing jokes until 2 a.m. because they don't want to go home or they don't want to see their families. You will not see, I don't think, a showrunner who's also a mom do that.
That's true.
Because they want to go home to their families. And Aline never keeps the room late. She runs the room incredibly efficiently. And so that's something I really have grown to appreciate working with moms. And I think that as a woman, we are still taught that it's a choice, right, between your career and having kids. But I see, we're not taught that, but like, there's definitely that subtext, right?
Yeah.
And I see how the two of them work in tandem now, working with the amazing women that I work with.
Awesome.
It's cool.
Thank you. One last random question from me before we get to all of your wonderful questions. Coming up on 100 songs, have you heard back from the original musician of a song you've spoofed?
Oh my God.
Like, has Drake said anything about Zoo?
Oh God, no.
Oh my God.
I don't think
they need to get on it.
I don't think they know about the show. I'm trying to think. I mean, here's the thing. Stupid Bitch was like the closest we could get to like a Bernadette Peters in concert like song, and Bernadette Peters likes the show, so that was awesome.
That's my next question. When are you doing live theater?
As soon as I can.
Oh. Do you have a dream role?
Something I write for myself.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of there are good female roles in musical theater,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are also not great.
Okay.
And so I'm excited I wrote a full-length musical before Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was even an idea, but the musical that I wrote was called Broadway Crazy. Again, completely divorced because Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was Aline's idea for a movie that we made into the show, and so I'm debating about bringing that show, or do I write a new show? I kind of want, well, this is really preemptive. I don't, I'll tell you guys, but I haven't even started thinking about it yet. I kind of want to eventually write a musical about Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who's the most prolific serial killer in human history.
Gotta do it. The dark comedy is there.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be, and I don't condone serial killing. I just want to say this now, but she bathed in women's blood and stuff, and it's just interesting. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
The scenic design is just
so
going.
Weird.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the audience questions. I'm just gonna read them very quickly.
Oh, also we are looking into Crazy Ex-Girlfriend as a Broadway musical.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cram all 100 songs into 2
Yeah,
hours.
man. I mean, that's the cool thing about is that normally it's like, how do you write a musical, and then it's like, what do you focus on?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. It'll have to be one of those like two-parters. Like Harry Potter has 2 parts, Wolf Hall has 2 parts.
Or the
and you have to get a dinner break in the
Coast
middle.
of Utopia was 3 parts, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, there you
Anyway.
go. Perfect. I'm going to read them very quickly. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
You spoke in previous interviews, you mentioned your early job working at Robot Chicken and how it prompted you with your own music videos. How did you find balance between pursuing your passions and still keeping up that 9 to 5?
It was really hard, but you just kind of do it. And I think that when you're actively thinking, thinking leads to more thinking. It's a muscle that doesn't stop. And so when I worked at Robot Chicken, a lovely group of people to work with, by the way. That story I told earlier was not about Robot Chicken. They're really, truly some of the loveliest people I've ever met. When I was at Robot Chicken, I spent from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. brainstorming sketches. And you would write at Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken is a sketch show on Adult Swim, just for people who don't know that. It's a stop-motion animated sketch show. It's very funny. You write 3 to 5 new sketches every day, and it's just your brain is then constantly working. So it was actually easier than you'd think to go from work to Robot Chicken to writing something for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to then the same year that we were pitching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, also writing an album of Hanukkah comedy songs, which is available for purchase and still doesn't have a lot of buyers. But I think that my problem, and again, something I'm actively working on, just to give you an insight on my process, is with my mind constantly working, it's hard to turn it off. And there's an over-cranked sometimes, and there's an over-cracked out that I can get when I've been working too hard. So it's a question of how do you balance that within slowing down.
Got it. On the topic of creating, one person asks, I am a writer filled with ideas and self-doubt. What advice can you give someone like me who wants to tell stories, but whose depression gets a bit in the way sometimes?
Yeah, I feel that. Well, I hope that you have a good doctor, because a good therapist will help you work through this, and it's a lot of times it's trial and error. When I first started therapy, I was living here in New York, and I went to this place, NIP, National Institute for the Psychotherapies, right? Yeah. And it was $5 a session when I went, and now someone said it's $30, which still isn't bad. And I was with my therapist there for years. But the thing that I would say about writing in general is set deadlines.
Okay.
Hold yourself accountable. Schedule a table read with a bunch of friends. That way you have to finish it no matter what. I'm not good at writing without a deadline. If I say, oh, I'm gonna write this thing, but I don't set a table read or a live performance or a workshop for myself, I won't get it done. Like, I'm writing a book right now, and I'm meeting with my publisher tomorrow to specifically make her email me every week and be like, you need to send me a chapter every week, otherwise, I'll murder you.
Perfect. And on that note, what was your bat mitzvah theme?
So here's a thing that's not really on brand. I was not bat mitzvahed. Yep, I know. It's a Shonda. Here's the thing. I was raised pretty secular, and so I went to Hebrew school. I got really bored, and I said I want to do theater, and my parents said okay. And so a lot of the Jewishness that I give off comes from the ish in Jewishness. Like, it was just something I knew that I was without kind of participating in a lot of the religious stuff. And also, I grew up with two neurotic Jews in a beautiful Southern California beach town where people literally took surfing as their PE class, which is like the most un-Jewish thing I can think of. And so that made me feel even more like, the sun. And it's weird because it feels sometimes inauthentic for me, but it's who I am. It is what it is.
Perfect. What inspired the Santa Ana wins, and will he be back?
Yeah. Well, there was a thing we had originally heard that Frankie Valli had maybe wanted to do the show, and then like that kind of didn't pan out, but it got us thinking about, a Frankie Valli, a Four Seasons style song. And we were thinking about this out of the box episode about how the Santa Ana winds fuck with everyone's lives, and we were like, oh, what a great narrator to just kind of walk through everything. And we were thinking about Four Seasons, and it was like, oh, that kind of high pitch kind of sounds like wind. And that really was the end of that character. It was like, at first it was just a one-off song of someone singing about the Santa Ana winds. It was like, wee, I'm the winds. And then we were like, oh, but if the Santa Ana winds are fucking up everyone's life throughout the episode, and there's a person embodying that, they should be the narrator of this episode, bless you. Right, that was a sneeze, right? Yeah, it's fine.
Will he
we all
be back?
sneeze. What?
Will he be back?
I don't know.
It's gonna be windy later.
Yeah, you're right. I want him back. He's wonderful.
Okay.
His name's Eric Michael Roy.
Is he single? Or do people need to know these things?
Is he? God, I don't know. You'll have to, I don't know, get his address and show up at his house. It's not. No, don't do that.
What has been your favorite song?
I can't answer that fucking question. I can't. There's 100 fucking songs. I script every single one of them. I sit in the edit on every single one of them. I can't pick a fucking favorite. I love them all. I don't think we have a shitty song. They're great.
That's true. Is there a way,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Is there a song you're most proud of? And that could be, social impact? That could be, that edit was so difficult, I can't believe we survived it.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a good question. Kabir Akhdar, who is an editor on our show, won an Emmy for editing our show, but also has directed episodes, the episode with Strip Away My Conscience in it, and said it was by far the hardest song he's ever had to edit because we got so many different angles of it. And he and I figured out that final edit together. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the Diagnosis song. I think tonally it really, really works. Shit Show was a really hard song to write. And part of the reason it was so hard is because me, Adam, and Jack, all of our impulses were this song has to have a curse in it because it's taking the kind of, not sappiness, but the warmth of a love song and then turning it on its head by saying, like, this whole thing was totally fucked. And we knew we couldn't do that. And finally, after trying to write the song 15 different ways and crying and being like, I'm never gonna write the song, I called Standards and Practices. And I was like, we need to be able to curse and we need to be able to bleep it. on TV because they didn't even like let us bleep the curses and show. They literally gave us 2 shits.
Oh my gosh.
Which is part of the. They gave 2 shits. It's beautiful. Yeah. And that's partially why, like, the third part of the song, you never hear him say shit show because we can only say it twice. But also, what a great way to end a song. Beautiful, heart-stopping, life-changing.
Perfect. And then we only have time for one more question, so I'm going to ask you this one.
Here, wait, let me choose one.
Oh, okay. She's the best. She's pretty much the best.
Oh, well, this is from a shrink.
Yeah.
From Hillary Jacobs. Hendel? Yeah. Yeah? Okay.
She's in here.
She wrote, from a mental health perspective, what's the thing you most, she added most, want people to take away from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? And I think that you are responsible for your own happiness, and you can't be happy and change unless you want to. And that goes for also any people who have someone in their life who they want to help. I mean, Heather says it in this episode, you cannot change people who don't want to change, but if you want to change, there is hope. And if you're unhappy, you don't have to live like that. There is a way to remedy that. And so I think that's really important for us. Yeah. Sorry, we don't have to. I'm looking through these questions. They're good. I love Fountains of Wayne. Do you play any instruments? Piano, but badly. Total shift on the show. Okay. We need to stop. I just like looking at.
Thank you so much.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.